Welcome. In my last episode, I talked about worry. I shared some things that helped me stop letting worry control my life. But today, I want to talk about what happens after the worry. Eventually, we all reach a point where we have to ask ourselves one question. Now what? Life doesn't always go according to plan. I thought my life would go one way when it came to relationships, but it didn't. And I thought my career in ESL would go another way, but it didn't. I thought my business would go one way, and it didn't either. At first, I thought adaptability was something you did once. Now I realize it's a lifelong skill. In fact, I don't think I simply adapted. I think I became someone who adapts. When we're young, most of us have a picture in our minds of how life is supposed to unfold, like a blueprint. We'll go to school, we'll get a good job, we'll build a career, we'll find someone to love, we'll retire someday. Everything fits together like puzzle pieces, and that was certainly true for me. I liked having a plan. I liked knowing where I was headed. But here's what life eventually taught me. Life rarely follows our blueprint. Instead, it hands us detours. Sometimes those detours are small. Sometimes they completely change the direction of our lives. The question isn't whether life will surprise us, as it will. The question is, how will we respond when it does? Last time, I shared how disability changed the career path I had imagined. That was a huge pivot, but it wasn't my last one. When I began building my online business, I honestly believed I had found my new direction. I thought, I'll write books. I've got experience, why not? People will discover them. They'll recommend them to their friends. And one book will lead to another. Everything will grow naturally from there. That sounded logical to me, but that's not what happened. I remember pouring years into my first Kindle ebook on a relationship issue, something all my friends were having trouble with, and that I had been through a few times, so I knew how to handle it, and I just wanted to teach them. I thought the book was really needed, not just by my friends, but many other women. And I thought it would sell well, but it only sold a few copies. I was discouraged, but instead of quitting, I started experimenting. So I adapted. I wrote another relationship book in the dating field, which did a little better than the first one. Then I created self-improvement journals. And then I explored YouTube. Not only because I wanted to help more people, but I thought it might sell some of my books. Then I experimented with different kinds of videos, then Patreon, then newsletters, then different audiences, then different topics. Every time I thought, this is it, I finally figured it out. But something surprised me. It seemed there was some interest, but not enough to make a living with. At first, that was incredibly discouraging. I remember wondering, why can't I just find the one thing that works? Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever worked hard at something only to realize you needed to change direction again? It's frustrating, especially when you've invested your heart into it. For a long time, every pivot felt like a failure. If I changed direction, I assumed I'd made a mistake. I thought successful people made one plan and stuck with it. Looking back, I think many successful people simply adapted more times than we ever saw or knew about. We only see the finished story. We don't see the experiments. We don't see the disappointments. We don't see the dead ends. We don't see all the times they had to begin again. That's true for my story, too. People might look at what I'm doing today and think, she planned all this very carefully. No, not even close. One day, I looked back over everything I'd tried: books, journals, videos, different audiences, different formats, different ideas, and I suddenly realized something. I hadn't been standing still. I'd been learning. Every attempt taught me something. I learned which topics people connected with. I learned which ones they ignored. I learned which videos people watched. I learned where they stopped watching. I learned which ideas excited people and which ones didn't. It didn't always feel like progress because the income wasn't there yet. But progress and income aren't always the same thing. Sometimes progress looks messy while you're living through it. Only years later does it begin to look like a straight line. People sometimes ask me whether I think my online business will eventually succeed. My honest answer is, I don't know. I know people make a living through books, through YouTube, through memberships, through courses, through newsletters. So I know it's possible. What I don't know is exactly what my own business will look like 5 years from now. And surprisingly, I'm okay with that. Years ago, not knowing would have terrified me. Today it doesn't, because life has taught me something. Not knowing doesn't mean I'm failing. It simply means I'm still becoming. I'm still learning. I'm still adapting. When I was younger, I thought success meant making a plan and following it. Now I think success often looks very different. It means making a plan, watching it fall apart, making another plan, watching that one change, and continuing anyway. That's adaptability. Adaptability isn't giving up. It's refusing to give up simply because the path changed. It's understanding that changing direction isn't weakness. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's survival. And sometimes it's exactly what prepares us for opportunities we never could have imagined. I can't tell you how my story ends because I'm still living it. Maybe this business becomes exactly what I hope it will. Maybe it evolves into something completely different. I honestly don't know. But after everything life has taught me, I do know this. The ability to adapt has carried me much farther than certainty ever did. I no longer measure success by how closely my life matches the picture I once had in my head. I measure success by whether I keep moving forward. Because adaptability isn't something I did once. It's someone I've become. And if life has forced you to change directions more times than you can count, maybe you're becoming that kind of person too. Before we close, here are some journal questions for you to ponder or work on. Number 1, what part of your life hasn't gone according to plan? And number 2, looking back, what unexpected lessons came from that change? Number 3, where have you adapted without giving yourself credit? Number 4, is there a dream you've had to redefine instead of abandon? Number 5, are you holding on to an old plan that no longer fits your life? And number 6, what is one area where you can adapt instead of giving up? And the last one, number 7, think about a challenge that once seemed like the end of the road. How did it eventually shape the person you are today? Well, that's it for today's lesson. Thanks for listening. This has been Barb at Self-Help FAQ. If today's lesson encouraged you, I'd love it if you'd share it with someone who's trying to figure out their next chapter. Until next time, remember, life's path may change, but that doesn't mean your purpose has ended. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.